Welcome back. You're still watching Signature Morning on Signature Television. So, in the spirit of the Independence Day celebration, we are going to be talking about politics as it relates to Nigeria's independence up until this moment. Of course, we had that independence in 1960. A whole lot had happened since then up until now. One of the most significant things you could actually draw your attention to is the fact that we had a civil war that lasted 3 whole years, where more than 1 million Nigerians were killed in that war, both from the Biafran end and, of course, from the Nigerian end at the time. Drawing some thoughts from that, do you think that basically that particular war changed a whole lot that we are still being fraught with up until this moment? We have with us in the studio Pastor Silas Onoha, as a political analyst. Good to have you. Good morning, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Do you think in any way that the war between 1967 and 1970, we're still being affected by that particular civil war?
Yes. In fact, everything is based on it. Whatever is happening now is based on that war. If we hadn't fought that war, maybe some other things must have taken place. But because the war was fought and lost, some people were sidelined as losers. So a lot has changed.
Right. So many persons also say that the war would have been inevitable. I mean, the people who were at the forefront of that war, Ojukwu and Gowon at the time, there would have been some compromise, so much so that the war would have been averted. Do you think that we would have averted that war?
Yes. Ojukwu made an effort to make sure that there will be nothing like war. You remember the Aburi Accord? And so many accords, and none was kept by Gowon and his Nigerian government. Ojukwu sought for peace. But the people he was dealing with closed their ears. They blocked their ears. They didn't want to hear him or achieve that, because if they follow him, they will not achieve their aim. Their aim is what is happening today.
And what is happening today?
Marginalization of certain section of Igbo, of Nigerians. 2, there is no unity anywhere in Nigeria. We had unity last in the 60s. Today, there is nothing. We are far away from each other.
Well, let's talk about the marginalization. Many people would think that the thought about marginalization is a little bit, narrowed. The thinking and the thought is narrowed because what is the state resources is given to the state, and even the resources given to the states is not well utilized. When you say marginalization, is it based on appointments, or based on resources, or based on their locations? I mean, if you look at what's going on in the Southeast today, you can't really say that the amount of monies that have been poured into the Southeast is being used judiciously to cater to the people of the Southeast. So who is marginalizing who in this sense?
Okay, look at it this way. Southeast is at the bottom of this country. The lowest in terms of states, number of states, in terms of number of local governments, in terms of number of words. Of course, all this attracts money from the federal government. While the Northwest, Kano alone, has 44 local governments. The whole Southeast, how many have we? It's less than 90, about 94 local governments.
But we created the local government.
Eh?
We created the local government, didn't we?
The Igbos.
The people who at the time created the local government.
Good, the government. The government will tell you the number of local government you will create. And if you create more than that, you will cater for it. You take care of the other ones. They will only give you allocation to the ones they created.
Yeah, so even at that, the 5 Southeast states have their own resources. They have been ruled by Igbos, not by Northerners or any.
I agree with you. I agree with you. They have been ruled by the Igbos. But remember one thing. After the war, the Igbos lost that togetherness. They don't have a leader. And other Nigerians capitalized on it to divide us more.
So I wouldn't say it's their fault, or the part of the country, the Nigeria, other part of Nigeria. I wouldn't say it's their fault. I would say, would you say it's the fault of Igbos? It's
not the fault of Igbos because it is the position they found themselves after the war. It was too much to bear. For instance, by 1970, I don't have 1 naira.
Okay.
Or let me say 1 pound. And I know many people are like that. Then if you have money in the bank, you go to withdraw the money. They say you have tampered with the money. Therefore, the money has gone. That you tampered with the money during the war. You've lost your money. Some people who did not tamper with their money were given 20 pounds. So, the only yardstick you can measure Igbo man economically as at that time is 20 pounds. So, everybody was going haywire, looking where to find greener pasture for himself. And that has continued up to today. The governors, when the thing came in 1999, I mean, when civil rule came into play, the players were those people that had money through the wrong way. They had money through the wrong way. So they all came into politics with their money. The people who want to maintain gentility, they have nothing, but they have their brain. They have everything that will make them a good leader. But money came into play. And these people were chosen. The first set of governors in Igbo land, can you tell me one that is good? No one.
You mean it from 1999?
Yes.
When you say good, good may be relative.
Good means working. The person that
Doing a good job.
good job, selfless
Leadership.
leadership.
I mean, some people can point
Like
to,
we
towards,
had at the time of Michael Okpara.
some people can point towards Chimaroke Nramani, 1999 to 2007, Enugu State Governor at the time. He opened up Enugu practically. The people we have today who are even in politics in Enugu, he built them. The reconstruction of Enugu State, you could say he built them. But that's not even what I'm trying to talk about, but I'm sure you're going to highlight that a little bit. But after the war, we had the 3 R's: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and I think there's a third R, rehabilitation. The government said no victor, no vanquished, and also embarked upon reforms to reintegrate the Igbos into the government space. You don't think that that has happened over time?
The 3 R you mentioned, one is reconstruction, another one is rehabilitation, and the other R is
Reconstruction, rehabilitation, and
is it restoration or
it's not restoration.
reconciliation?
Reconciliation.
Good. None of the 3 R's saw the light of the day. None.
Why?
It was not implemented by the government. So that was why we are where we are today, trying to struggle by ourselves. I'm a victim,
Of the war.
yes, of what the war brought.
Okay.
How are you a victim?
I'm a victim because at the end of the war, I had nothing. I started afresh. So
What were you doing at that time? How old were you at that time, in 1967 and 1970? What was the war like, being a young person at that time?
as at 1966, I was 22 years old.
Wow.
So as at the time the war ended, 1970, I was like 24 years old. Or
25.
26 years old. So I'm a full-fledged man when it happened.
Yeah.
I was feeding myself, clothing myself, doing everything by myself, and helping my younger ones to school. So I have responsibility at that time. So I can say when the war ended, I had nothing.
So what was it like? Because at the time, I heard that through books, that young people were co-opted into the Biafran army. Were you co-opted into the Biafran army at the time? And where were you specifically? Were you in the eastern region, or you were outside the eastern region?
I was at the heart of Biafra. Each time where the Biafran headquarters is where I am.
Okay.
In Enugu, in Umuahia, then in Madonna 1, in Etiti local government area. And when they moved to Owerri, I was there. But one thing that I did not do, I had very young persons. My father has died, my mother has died. I am the breadwinner of the family. So if I die, the rest will die. I have that at the back of my mind. That's why I didn't join Biafran Army.
It was a choice.
It was a choice. That's why I didn't join the Biafran Army. I had to stay alive to guide these ones. So,
Okay, let's talk about the leadership, politics and governance from that 1999 till date. What are the significant changes you have noticed or you've noted in Nigeria so far?
negative or positive?
Both.
In fact, we are on the negative side.
Okay.
Nothing has actually improved. What we had today is window dressing. Amateur war judge. That is what Nigerians are doing today. When you wear clothes, people will think everything is okay with you. But inside, you know what you are passing through. That is the problem with Nigeria today. We had never had peace, true peace in Nigeria. If you don't have peace, you have lost it all.
Was there any time we had peace in the past?
Yes. In 1960 to 66, I used to sleep outside. No armed robbery, no thieves, no nothing, no mosquito bite. A lot of people sleep during the heat. A lot of people sleep outside their house. We have peace. If you go to the north, I can tell you this for free. In the north, the Hausas saw Igbo man as next to God. Because of what we can do with our own hands. But today, what is happening? The Igbo man has been suppressed. I liken it to the picture in 50 Naira note. If you get the 50 Naira note, look at it. The woman's head is above all, followed with the man with turban. Then the other person, Yoruba, the Igbo man, was at the bottom, very lean. That is the position.
I've heard a lot of people say that it's a deliberate government action to do this suppression, so to speak.
It is. It is government action. It is deliberate.
Even with government after government, because, I mean, in 1999, Obasanjo detribalized Nigeria, a man who welcomed everybody. Yar'Adua, the same thing. Jonathan, the same thing. This call about marginalization started peaking when the president Buhari took over office, you know. But you can't really say that it's a deliberate government. At what point did they make it a policy to marginalize
Since
the Southeast?
1967. Since 1967, the military started creating, they created the core states, 8 core states, is to press down the Igbos, to suppress us. Ojukwu did not accept it. They created 12. Ojukwu did not accept it. said, let us sit down and agree on what to do. You don't force anything to us. So the military started implementing unitary system of government. You know, so the suppression is not from 1999. It's from 1966 or 67. The military, everything we are suffering today comes from the military. And the military is the North. I tell you, I can count them by my fingers. The number of head of states that came from the North. And the number that has come from the West.
Well, the North, it doesn't look like it's even better.
They are not better
So,
because...
I'm just saying that it's not about the amount of persons who have led a country or the amount of persons who have come from a place, but what you can actually do with that position in terms of distribution of resources. But, I mean, the North is the poorest according to our statistics. But we're talking solutions now. Going forward, we have a new president who just came in last year. And so far, his reforms have impacted many lives. So many people think that he's on the right path to the development of this country. And some others think that he isn't. But for you, going forward, what do you think can be done in terms of uniting the country? And of course, having a country where everybody will feel, you know, happy and excited and
peaceful.
to practically be part of it.
Let me start from somewhere. You see, there's a program called Structural Adjustment Program of Babangida. That program would have been a masterstroke that would have given Nigeria what we want, or even more than. When I heard that program, I started jumping up. I felt relieved in my heart that something good is coming to Nigeria. Because I read a book written by a Ghanaian. He was a student in China, African student in China. He wrote the book about China, how Mao Zedong and every other person started the revolution in China. And what they used is this structural adjustment program. Get all the cars, bring them, park them in one place. Both private to government to park them in one place. China people, if you want to ride a car, produce a car. If you want to ride a motorcycle, produce motorcycle. If you want to ride a bicycle, produce a bicycle. And even the head of state was riding a bicycle produced in China. And at that material time, I had a pressing iron called Santon iron. It was made in China. And in that book, that iron was mentioned that when it was first produced in China, if you buy it, before you finish pressing one sheet, the elements were born. Then the government gave order. If it burns, take it back to the shop where you bought it. Tell them what happened. They will give you another one. and take the other one back to the factory. And that is what they continue doing until they perfected Santong. Santong became an export product.
So such thing, practices.
Structural
Yes,
adjustment
Yeah.
that is what is called structural adjustment program. So I was happy that Babangida did that. But you see, such programs goes with some kind of sacrifice. The people of China paid that supreme sacrifice to adjust. They don't travel out of China, unless on government platform. You are going to for government business, then you will travel. Otherwise, let us all remain here and suffer it together. So they did that. They produced so many things. They produced their own cars. And today, they have all those things for exports. That's why China is the way they are today. They drove away the Japanese, who were bourgeois at that time. They liberated themselves from them.
So you think structural adjustment program will be good?
Will
now
be
if
the same
introduced?
thing.
Okay.
But I discovered that why Babangida is asking us to tighten our belt, himself and his cabinet, we are losing their own.
We'll have to leave it there, Pastor Silas. Oh no, we'll have to leave it there because of time. We
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
you. Maybe
Thank you.
in another time we'll probably invite you for a longer discussion because I really enjoy the discussions with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Remain blessed.